Students, your time has come. I have decided that it's time to share some of my knowledge with you. That's right. Do you want to become a true legendary professional wrestling character? Do you want to learn how to project your voice, to enunciate, to come up with the greatest promos that you possibly could? Then you need to join me each and every week for just $50. I am hosting a masterclass on Zoom. That's right. You don't have to travel. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. I will teach you how to become the greatest character you can be. I will help you discover who you truly are. I will help you with taglines, promos, etc., etc. Join me for just $50 a week in a masterclass of wrestling character development. There's a reason they call us the masters of wrestling. Students, welcome back to another live stream right here on the masterclass here in the Masters of Wrestling. Boy, it is going to be on fire today. Difference of opinions, lots to talk about in the news, and we want you to be a part of it. So load up your super chats and jump in, ask us questions, talk with us. Also, if you haven't already, join and become a channel member for just $4.99 a month. That'll give you a free shout out. Free. What was that?
Just a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's the price of a cup of coffee. That's it exactly, Martin. $4.99. You spend that at Starbucks, but you know what happens when you drink your coffee? You pee it out later on. At least here, your $4.99 goes a lot further. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Master Amir. First, Martin, as all due respect, to the top of our screen, joining us here from Styling the Podcast. He is the man himself, former WWE Tag Team Champion, former AEW Superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rico Constantino, the Stylist.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you for having me on the show, and I can't wait. We need to disseminate some information here.
Yes, we do, Rico. And, of course, at the bottom of our screen, one of my tag team partners here on the Masterclass, he is former NXT Tag Team Champion. He is the Fixer himself, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Martin Stone.
How you doing, people?
Wonderful, Mr. Stone. Wonderful to see you.
But before we take
Thank you.
Hey,
thank you for letting me on your show.
Oh, so
this is our show. This is our show. This is
honor
all our show.
We're
all part of the Masters of Wrestling here. Before we step any further, I want to give a shout out to my tag team partner up in Canada, the Bodacious Suave, Matthew Jacobs. This week he's going through chemo. We do not forget about the Bodacious Suave. Please keep him in your prayers. He will be back with us next week. Fret not. All right, now we go into it. Gentlemen, I got to be in my bonnet today because I got something, all right? There's a company out there. I wasn't even aware of these people. FIGHTFUL Pro Wrestling FIGHTFUL. All right. I never heard of these guys until now, and they really pushed my buttons this week. So FIGHTFUL is a company that started in 2016. Okay. It was put together by, for lack of a better term, a bunch of wrestling marks. They happened to strike it rich, I don't know, probably got an investor or somebody, lining their pockets. But nonetheless, they come out now and they're claiming to be like some kind of a force in wrestling and that they can grade wrestling and give out awards. So anyway, FIGHTFUL have just deemed that AEW and 21 of they won 21 awards, okay? And when I list these awards, I want your honest reactions, okay? This is what FIGHTFUL said about AEW. They said they're the promotion of the year, okay? Promotion of the year. Now, we know that WWE draws in millions and millions of viewers and travels around the world. AEW gets approximately 500,000 views per week worldwide for Dynamite, okay? So promotion of the year, number one. Number two, Booker of the year, Mr. Tony Khan. Booker of the year, Tony Khan, right? Now, Martin, I'm going to bring Martin in first here, Rico. Martin, I've had conversations with guys on the AEW books, and from what they tell me, they're going in there and they're booking their own matches. Tony Khan is not booking these things. They are going in there telling him what they're going to do. Now, what do you say about that? You've been there.
Yeah. So I would say they pitch ideas. Tony comes back, and then we just see what happens.
Okay.
I'm not trying to play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
I was there last night, and it was a very, very good show. Like the crowd was completely engaged all night.
Mm-hmm.
So for lack of the better term, I just think it's people maybe misinterpret what they're supposed to do and what they don't.
Okay. All right. The reason I bring this up as well, Booker of the Year and things of this nature, is because of this. Rico, our dear buddy, Rico, you went back to AEW about a year ago. No, about 2 years ago now, right? It was 2024. October 2024. Now, Rico, I don't know if you remember this, but I got an email before you went back to AEW from a certain man by the name of Mansoor. He reached out to me because of our podcast. And at first, I didn't believe that this guy was a wrestler, okay? Because his Facebook handle was not, I think it was his personal one, right? And forgive me, I'd never heard of him before, right? I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So I get a message from him asking to be connected with you because he wants to discuss something about AEW with you, right? Okay. Now, in my opinion, wouldn't it be someone like Tony Khan that's meant to be reaching out to you first, not one of his wrestlers? Rico, am I wrong?
No, Tony Khan should have reached out to me.
Right. That's what I thought.
If he's Booker of the Year.
That's what I'm saying. If he's a booker, he's the guy should be reaching out, not his wrestlers. But now again, I don't want us to get into a Tony bashing here because I do believe that Tony is a good man. I've said this before, right? And I've said this with Martin off camera. We've all said this. I just think he's being led astray by some of these young wrestlers. I'm not even going to call them talent. I think that would be too much of a credit to them. Wrestlers who are just taking the piss, for lack of a better term, out of him and his checkbook. Should I continue with this list? Should I continue, gentlemen?
I'm interested. There's 21 of them.
21. Okay. The first thing, event of the year, All In Texas, AEW. So I guess this Fightful are negating WrestleMania. They're negating.
Okay, I'll stop you right there.
Okay.
If you're a wrestling purist and a wrestling fan, All In was absolutely spectacular.
Really, Martin?
And I will 100 because I watched that and it took me away from being a wrestler.
Right.
It was a fantastic show. It was absolutely filled to the brim. Like it was packed, and everything made sense.
Okay.
And again, I'm not there. This is just how I see it going in. They build. There might not be the greatest amount of stories in the world, but they do build to their pay-per-views, and then the pay-per-views are a extravaganza.
Okay.
So
okay, Martin. I'm glad. Thank you, Martin, for your contributions.
In other words, shut up. That's not what I wanted to hear.
No, I mean, I agree.
No, as a wrestling fan, I thoroughly enjoyed that show.
Okay. All right. Now, on the opposite side of the coin here, I'm going to throw it back up to the stylist because now, Rico, you were involved in what I love, which is sports entertainment. Now, Martin, you just described wrestling purists. So you going back to the days of just, pure mat wrestling here, pure move for move, hold for hold. Again, I make no qualms about it. That doesn't interest me. Never has. So Rico, right? If you're looking at a global scale of wrestling, available to the viewers, and again, a wrestling purist event like AEW All In Texas, would you rate that over the sports entertainment of the juggernaut of WWE? I mean, and why?
No, I mean, you got to have storylines. You got to have reasons. That's See, in WWE, house shows lead to TV. TV leads to pay-per-views each month. Each pay-per-view leads to the end, WrestleMania. And then everything starts all over. So you could have, people having feuds on different levels during a Rumble, during, No Mercy or whatever they have now. But all that led up to WrestleMania, where all the feuds were settled, the storyline was finished, and then they start the new year with new feuds.
Yeah.
Something that will keep the people going.
Yeah.
So that's how they did it in WWE.
Okay. I just want to give a shout out before we continue here because we got our first super chat. This is one from a true fan of the Masters of Wrestling here. That's why he hit the super chats. From Jake Lineker, no relation to Gary Lineker, the soccer player, although I'm not sure of that. I've seen Jake in here before, and I think he may be related, Martin. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
Great to see you boys after a hospital trip and surgery. Okay, well, I'm glad you're out. Put me in a better mood for recovery already. Have a good one, lads. Thank you very much, Jake, for being a valued member of the channel.
Best of wishes and in your recovery, mate.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Okay, can I say something real quick? So the current landscape is, even in WWE, there's not many storylines. There's not.
That's
many.
Now. Back, 21 years ago.
So again,
when I was there.
That's why I go back to All In being a great show, because the premium live events, as they're now called, are just matches. Even though WWE tries to show this thing of, we got this storyline and that storyline, it's still just matches. AEW does matches way better because All In was, in terms of, okay, I'm going to watch wrestling, it was way better than any pay-per-view WWE put out.
Okay. All right.
From a wrestling standpoint, if you want to go back 10 years when we had the Attitude Era, when it was peak storylines and stuff like that, nothing can match that at all. Nothing.
That Ruthless Aggression Era,
and the
stuff
golden
like
era.
that.
The golden
era.
era.
And the golden era before that. Yeah. So that's where my experience comes from, and that's what I'm speaking about.
You were in the thick of it, like you were in the best time period, So it's like nothing nowadays can match that.
No, it can't.
We've got to go back to that. We have to go back to that.
We have to desperately in order to save wrestling, because I'm going to get into other news that's come out about TV ratings and whatnot. But I'm going to continue. Here. Okay, so after the event of the year, what would you think would follow? Okay, so gentlemen, we've had promotion of the year, booker of the year, event of the year. What award do you think? Viewers, what do you think's coming next at the top of their list? They're bringing it down. What do you think should come next after that?
Wrestler of the year.
Okay, all right. Well, here we go. It's not Wrestler of the Year. The first one out the gate is Women's Overall Performer. Not even Wrestler. They call her Performer.
A performer.
Now. Yes, and it is a lady who I have no love lost for, Toni Storm, whatsoever. Now, Martin, we've talked about this. Now, hold on a minute, Martin. Hold on. Because hold on a minute.
Okay.
I am a person who truly believes that when you're in a public platform, you need to be a role model. You don't need to be a degenerate like MJF. Now, Toni Storm has done some unquestionable things in the ring, gestures with other women. She cusses. She has a foul mouth. So as far as I'm concerned, somebody like that should be instantly disqualified because they can't be. And first of all, where's the Wrestler of the Year? Why are they saying women's wrestler first? Why? Where's MJF in this list? He's not there.
Honestly, Tony's been the most interesting thing in all of wrestling the last 2 years.
Very
Her
sad if that's the
character
case.
is absolutely I mean, it is. It's fantastic. It's and it's engaging. And just when you hear the crowd when she comes out, it's the loudest pop of the night.
Then you know what I would say? You know what needs to happen then, gentlemen? If that's the case, Martin, if that's the case, Rico, if that was me backstage, I'd have to grab my balls and say, damn it. If she's getting the biggest pop, right, I better damn well do better, because at the end of the day, right, professional wrestling, correct me if I'm wrong. Rico, I'm going to ask you, correct me if I'm wrong. Is professional wrestling a male soap opera? Am I wrong? Okay.
Well, it was. You're not wrong. It is a male soap opera, and there were diva divisions, but they didn't play that big of a role. It's after I left that the divas, the female performers or female wrestlers, were pushed. And they got a lot more time on TV than they ever had in my Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah, and there's. You can't hold back talent. It doesn't matter if they're male or female.
Okay.
And that
and there are some females.
Dream rises to the top, and
true. But as a male performer in a business that started with male performers, would you not be embarrassed that your company? Because I haven't even got to the rest of these awards, but like half of them are for women. Like the men are very few in these awards. So wouldn't you be embarrassed, right?
So that point,
Karen.
That's on the talent, on the male talent, being like, okay, how do I top this?
Yeah,
it's kind of that should be their mindset.
That's nothing to do with booking or anything like that. Tony she dips and dives when she starts to, when it starts to crash, she changes course and she comes up with something else, which is a new character arc. And then when that starts to crash, she comes up with something else that is a new character arc. So she keeps herself relevant. She knows how to work.
Yes,
she reinvents herself.
Nothing to do she's awesome. That's nothing to do with her. That's down to if there's guys in the back well, why is she getting pushed? Go put asses in seats.
Well, no, I agree with you.
And again, in terms of she is the best female wrestler across both promotions, because I don't see females in WWE getting the same reaction as what Tony does.
Okay. All right. So now here's my point, and then I'll rest my point after this, gentlemen. Okay. It's like Mr. Becky Lynch himself, Seth Rollins, the man who does not wear the pants. He does not wear the pants in his family, Rico. He does not. Okay. Becky Lynch is above him. Now, he should be ashamed at this point. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say about it. Again, I continue. I digress. Okay. The next award, Women's Best on Promo. Again, it's back to the women. It's not the male. They choose to put the female first. Toni Storm. Now, again, on this one, gentlemen, I'll give a pass, but not for the cussing and the vulgarity. I'm not going to give her a pass on that.
Right. But here's the thing. If the women are coming up in the voting system, that's not down to favoritism or the company. That's down to the women are genuinely more engaging and more interesting than the men.
I can see his point. I can see Martin's point.
Go ahead, Rico. What I'm saying? There has to be a reason as to why they're like, okay, best women's match, there has to be a reason why.
Mm-hmm. No, fair enough.
Well, like I said, I'm agreeing with Martin.
Yeah, this isn't being sexist or stuff, but let's go back to Austin being on top. If there was a female wrestler that was more engaging, I'm sure she would have had the spotlight. But Austin,
I don't think Vince would have allowed
Austin was so engaging, and it was and it was white hot, so you couldn't help but get behind that.
Okay, all right. Well, here we go. We're going to keep going here because now there's another award. Okay, Women's Best Individual Promo, Toni Storm. Another award for her. Now, but here's the thing. Okay, hold on a second, Rico. You met that little twerp MJF, did you not? When you went to AEW?
I might have met him, yeah.
Okay, well, he's supposedly been the best talker in wrestling for years. Apparently, this is what I heard until this came out from these marks. So apparently he's the greatest talker in the world. He's not even on this list. It's, again, a female. What does that say about your male contingent in your company?
Well, you can go both ways on it. you can say that the males got complacent and the females are now taking the bull by the horns and they're producing more. They're getting more reaction. And you got to, me being unbiased, being in the middle, it sounds like this Tony Storm, who she, as Martin said, keeps reinventing herself. Mm-hmm. That's why The Undertaker has lasted so long, because he always reinvented himself. Mm-hmm. And he always kept himself fresh. Once, I really don't know how long the stylist character would have lasted. It lasted, a while. But then there would have had a bit of time that I would have to evolve the stylist character and keep it interesting, because you can't keep going out and doing the same things.
Right.
Fortunately, Vince took me out of the stylist character and gave me the Adrian Street homage,
right,
which made me reinvent myself again as a wrestler. See, so then all of a sudden I went from the stylist here, and then I went to the Adrian as a face. I was supposed to be a heel, but then as a face, I rose higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I got the audience behind me. I was comedic relief, but I could wrestle, make fun of me with the makeup. And like I said, the announcers were part of it. Rico does this to take you out of your game. And then he throws the martial arts move on you and stuff like that. I haven't seen Tony Storm, but as Martin says, I got to take his word. But if she keeps reinventing herself and the crowd's behind it, of course they're going to push her.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I'm just thinking, like, in terms of, okay, I discussed this with Rene Dupree, our dear buddy Rene. He often refers to the WWE as World Women's Entertainment.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, though, but we've seen the results of that, Martin. I believe WWE tried to do an all-women's show a few years back, and the ratings tanked. It was not very popular at all. So I think they canceled it pretty much right away.
But at least, okay, to play devil's advocate, at least it was a way to get the girls back into the spotlight and get, again, when you do an all-women's pay-per-view, the spotlight is now on them. So then the fans are going to pick who they want out of that. So then you can go forward with that. Mm-hmm. And then just to, again, Rico, just to go back to Tony, there was a point. So she does like a 1940s, 50s Hollywood actress type gimmick. When it started to go stale, she went back to her old gimmick, went back to her original accent because she's from Australia, and she went back to her original gimmick, but she did it as if she had amnesia. And then eventually, when she got put back in the title picture, she then revealed it as the greatest act Hollywood had ever seen. Mm-hmm. So the character arc of that was fantastic. And that's down to her. That's, so again, if she is constantly best promo, best storyline, best... That's
okay.
Everyone else to step up.
If I continue this, I'm going to get in serious trouble. So I'm going to end it right here. I'm not going to be talking about any more of this. But my thing is this. Like I said, I'm looking at the Mr. Becky Lynch situation. Okay, so his wife's calling
awful. Let's be real. She's
awful.
Yeah,
but she's belittling him, making him look like a wuss, right? And I think that it doesn't say much for your company when. As men, and things like that, we have a natural inclination to be a protector, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you allow, it'd be the same to me as like if you have a dangerous situation and you guys are getting mugged and you just push your wife in front of you. That's what I'm saying. So these guys need to step up. They need to grab their balls and go and not just push women out in front of them and say, oh, sure, you guys do all the heavy lifting. You do all the whole work. You carry the company, and we'll just kick back. That's a pathetic squadron of guys.
Oh, that's a wimp. That's a spineless person.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That's not on the company. That's just, okay, we have someone who is very talented, who is pitching ideas, who can pull off what she's pitching to a very high standard.
Honestly, if I
why
was
would you not go with that? You know,
but if I was someone like MJF, I'd be damn well embarrassed that she's picking up all these awards and I'm not.
So MJF.
Well, this is only from one company.
Well, it's a mark company.
It's a mark company, okay? But, you know, this is not...
what are you laughing about, Martin?
I had to change my angle because my phone was dying.
No, he's laughing. He's just laughing because of something else. I don't know.
So I think MJF is an amazing talent. What I do feel is potentially lacking is it's been the same thing from when he first started to now.
He's living off his laurels.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think is, but it's because, I mean, he's a fantastic talker. He really is. Yeah. He's one of those guys that once he starts talking, you can't help but want to listen.
Right.
But then is it the same as what he said 2 years ago? Is it the same as what he said 6 months ago? So it's hard to point the finger as to whose fault it is, if that makes sense. Because it's like, our creative coming up with stuff, or is he just, no, this is what I'm doing? That I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea about that. So I can't say, well, it's this or that or whatever. But again, with Tony, it's constantly changing. So for me, that feels that's a talent going, I'm getting bored doing this. Let's try this. I'm getting bored doing that. Let's try that. You know?
Okay. All right, but coming back to this, and we'll put a pin in this, and we got another super chat here from one of our dear, loyal viewers here. And, of course, all of our channel members, I'm going to give you a shout-out. Bring your question up, because that's what you get as being part of a channel member for just the price of a cup of coffee. Don't be a coward. Hit the join button and become a channel member today. We've also got plenty of specials coming out in the members-only section. And you think we're uncensored here, we're even more uncensored there. So you want to become a channel member because we have a bunch of new things. Yeah, exactly. Our pistols are smoking, on there. But, match of the year, Hangman Adam Page against Will Ospreay. Now, everybody knows I have no love lost for Will Ospreay whatsoever. I think he's a bland character. I think he's just a guy. He's not a character. He's a guy. And Hangman Adam Page. But the thing that I'm trying to make with this Fightful, right, is Rico. How dangerous is it that you have a company built by marks, a guy whose name is literally Sap, right? And obviously, Martin, when we call people saps in England, we know exactly what they are. Basically a friggin' wet blanket. But anyway, a guy like that putting this information out and people actually taking it serious as if he is a registered what you would call one of those establishments that really rates things like the Nielsen ratings or something, and that people actually take. How dangerous is that, Rico?
Well, and I'm going to bring it back to Meltzer. What qualifications does he have? And from the Wrestling Observer, he just, there's no board, there's no committee that does all this voting. It's him, and I was privileged to be on his list of the worst gimmicks ever.
He said that about you, that SOB?
Yep.
Wow.
But I had the worst gimmick ever.
Okay, but let's also say, according to Meltzer, Kurt Angle has never had a 5-star match.
Really? So, you know what? This is one of those occasions where I wish our dear buddy Vince Russo was right here with us. Vince understands entertainment. Also, Vince McMahon. I understand entertainment. Wrestling is sports entertainment. I mean, Martin, is this coming back to what you said about All In? If you're going to market yourself as a purist wrestling company, don't masquerade it as sports entertainment. Do away with all the characters. Get rid of them. If you're trying to be a company that's all about technical wrestling, and Rico, what would you say? If you want to be like that, get rid of the entertainment out of it entirely then.
Well, yeah. I was, martial arts for real police officer, real bodyguard, and if you want me to go in there and give it my all, I did that. And I proved I could do it in American Gladiators because that was a shoot.
Yeah.
You know, I went there and I beat everybody in the fall season, became fall champion.
Mhm.
So I also can shoot with the best of them, and I also can entertain with the best of them. And I am technically sound, or was, you know, in the ring, in my time in the ring. But, you know, if you're going to be like MMA or UFC or something like that, then get rid of the entertainment part and then have people go out there and really try to
Yeah.
wrestle. I guarantee the matches would slow down greatly.
I think Martin, that's where all this frustration comes from. And again, we've said it, students out there. We're not trying to belittle wrestling here. We're trying to make it better, okay? Because at the end of the day, there's a gaping problem in pro wrestling. I gave the stats the other day. Rico, in 1999, WWF Monday Night Raw drew almost 9 million fans who watched it live around the world. Today, 2.6 million people in the U.S. tune in, and only 400,000 around the rest of the planet tune in to watch it live. That's it. 3 million. 500,000 tune in to watch the AEW Dynamite live. That's it. So that means only 3.5 million people, which used to be almost 16 million in the late 90s, only that amount tunes into wrestling today. That's it. What a drop-off. What a huge drop-off. So, Martin, coming back to what you were saying about the wrestling purists and stuff, that's a niche market. That is a niche market, and they're not going to sell out Wembley Stadium with niche market wrestling. So what I'm saying is a lot of these reporters, like this sap of a wrestling company, Fightful, right? Okay. You like it when I say that, don't you, Martin? Anyway, so this sap of a wrestling company, they're putting mixed messages out to people.
Yeah.
And that's what's killing the industry. Again, if you want to be known as a company that just does flips and moves, I mean, of course, I would say Rico call himself Cirque du Soleil or gymnastics. But, you know, if you want to call yourself a pure wrestling company, stop labeling yourself as entertainment. Get rid of your promos. Why do you need them? Because you're not entertainment. You're just purist now. Get rid of it. Don't do any promos. Don't do any vignettes. Don't have any characters. Just have Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Bob Smith and see who wins. See who can pin each other. See who can do that. Again, that's what I'm saying. It's miscommunication. So when these people are putting out this information, Martin and Rico, they're damaging the rest of them. They're causing the division. They're causing the arguments because they're trying to say AEW. I mean, well, this is obviously lopsided. I mean, there's no way the AEW took 21 awards and WWE got not one. I mean, that's
well, okay. So to that point, who would you have on the WWE side as winning those awards?
The greatest promo, John Cena for last year. John Cena. No one out there would talk like him, right?
And I used to be tag partners with John Cena, so I know his talent.
Yeah, I mean,
and he can talk.
Amazing, John. I was like, so when the world shut down, I was very, very fortunate because I was part of 205 at that point. And John literally was at the Performance Center that day while we had the first shutdown match when there was no crowd or anything like that. And it was a big 6-man tag. And he sat in the crowd and watched it. And he was like, I was really entertained by that.
Yeah.
And that's the only interaction I've had with John. Super nice guy, very respectful. But I mean, he is one of the greatest promo guys of all time. He is by far.
Yeah,
by
and
far. You can put him up there with The Rock, Austin. Like you can put him up there with everyone.
And he cut some of the greatest promos last year, Rico, on his last year tour.
But to that point,
why isn't he in that list? I mean, he could walk circles around Tony Storm.
Obviously, someone like that comes around once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So are they?
Well, I don't know about that, Martin. You're looking at 3 equal people like that on the screen right now.
Fair.
I mean,
I know for a fact I can talk to toot my own horn, like toot. But so you have to look at what is Fightful basing that list off of.
I tell you what they're basing it off of. Like I said, Rico, what does it sound like to you? Was I right in saying they're a bunch of marks for AEW?
Yeah. and they're trying to push. I believe they're trying to push AEW with all these labels. That's what I'm gonna call them, not awards, labels. And they put all AEW in there, and that's not fair. If you're supposed to be a reporting company, you're supposed to be unbiased. You're not supposed to, be one-sided. That's like what everybody calls fake news.
It is
When
fake news.
One station was for one president, the other station was for the other president. I'd listen to one station, and he was the devil incarnate.
Yeah.
And then I listened to the other station, and he had two wings and just missing his halo. Well, wait a minute. Nobody is that evil, and nobody's that good.
Right.
It's just one-sided. It's one-sided opinion, and I think there's been maybe like payoffs or something.
Well, I tell you what, Rico, I'm going to challenge this sap of a guy. I'm going to challenge this son. Sean Sapp is his name, right? Sean Sapp?
Sean Ross Sapp, yes.
Sean Sapp. I'm challenging him. If he sees this, if anybody gets this to him, I'm going to challenge him to come on here. And I want to know exactly why. I want to debate him, right? Okay, I want to debate him about this. It's pro wrestling, sports entertainment. So I want to know where the heck he drew to get this list, why he picked this list. Because, again, I'm not going to go through it. I'm not going to bore you students with the rest of it because it's asinine, half of these awards. But I want to challenge him and his crew, his ragtag crew of marks. Because, again, I can't stand this kind of misinformation. But on the screen.
We go to this comment, and I 100% agree with this.
What about you, Rico? It says the women are working.
I can't see it.
It says the women are working harder than men for now, is what it says.
Well, that's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
I said the women are stepping up.
Yeah.
And when they start stepping up, you're going to go with what pleases the audience in sports entertainment. So the men need to get off their butts, quit resting on their laurels, and start reinventing themselves. That's what they need to do.
Or quit hanging.
Exactly what it is. It's just, we're good. We've got it.
Or quit
hanging.
You
don't.
You've got one person that is spinning on the wheels and chomping at the bit, and they're trying to get. That's eventually going to bust through. I don't care. I'm not saying that they're going to be in the main event of WrestleMania or the main event of pay-per-views or whatever, but that's going to get through, and that's going to resonate with a crowd because they're going to see it. So that's not on the booking, that's not on the companies. That's on talent to be like, hey, let's, as much as we're in this together, we need to be trying to better each other. And again, it makes wrestling better.
Exactly.
Yes.
You
got to work as a team. When let's say a pay-per-view, you're on a pay-per-view and you're the starting match or you're the main event. Everything needs to work up to the main event. Everybody has to know their place. I knew my place in WWE. I was a mid-card guy. So as a stylist, I'd start shows or I'd come in right after that hour because the Adrian Street character was a little censored a little bit, so I'd come in the second hour. But, you got to lead up. Everybody has to play to the main event, whoever the main event is. Now, when I became that Adrian Street character, everybody was always serious. So they sent me and Charlie Haas in there as comic relief so they could take a breath and they get ready for the main event, like Eddie Guerrero and JBL or Undertaker, Mankind, whoever it was. But then they were ready to see that type of match.
Yeah.
Because we let the audience breathe. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you're the first match, you're starting off the show. You're setting the bar.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pick your brain as a talent right now because it's not often I get to do this. Okay. So let's say you are the fourth or fifth match and you have a bunch of matches before that just work for themselves and not for the card. How do you combat that? How do you?
It's the agents responsibility to combat that.
Okay.
Okay. We were always told, so not everybody works the arm. All right. We already seen the arm.
Well,
We've already seen, so they tell us. And if Ric Flair was on the card, no chops, no chops.
No work in the leg. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So then you tell me, who the heck is allowing all these people to do super kicks? I used to do super kicks. You know when I used to do super kicks, Rico?
No, I didn't know that.
When Shawn Michaels was popular, and when I was a child, when I was a teenager, okay? Because we thought it was fun to go around super kicking. So who in the hell are these guys going around super kicking now, Martin, who are in their mid-30s or 40s, and they think it's cool to just super kick their way through an entire match? What happened to an arm drag takedown? What happened to a headlock? What happened to a camel clutch? What happened to all this stuff, right? Super kick, super kick, super kick. Shawn Michaels put you down with that, right? Nowadays,
that was his finisher.
Yeah, it was his finish. Yeah.
So nowadays, I see guys super kicking, and they stand right back up like it's a damn joke, right? So again, this is something else where maturity and, like you said, raising that bar. Because again, Jake Lineker. So I think he's related to Gary. I'm pretty sure he is. One day he's going to tell us. He's got to be related. Yeah. So Gary Lineker was a star soccer player back in the day, Rico, in UK. So this guy who keeps Jake Lineker, one of our fans here. Yeah, super kicking. It's just a problem. But I think the guys need to step up to the plate, bottom line. And they do need to work harder on their craft because it's, stop hanging on to women's skirts, basically. That was an insult back in the day. Someone said that to you, you grabbed your balls real fast and became a man real fast if someone said that.
You can't fault the fans for liking what they like.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If the fans are getting behind women wrestlers, that's because they're delivering. That's
right.
That's not a booking thing or anything like that. It's just like they are setting the bar. So you can't say, well, creative hasn't got anything for them. No, just like.
Well, I've actually spoken.
One chance. You have one chance in this business. You have one chance in this job to try and do whatever you can, like maximize it.
Right. Well, I tell you what, there's one man who does it right, and I'm going to keep tooting his horn, and that's our dear friend Vince Russo. That man understands it. By the way, Rico, after you leave us today, Martin and I are going to be going into a full JCW episode review. One of our dear, loyal supporters, Muhammad, has put together a decent review for us. We're going to read that on the air. We're going to discuss it because that's a company worth talking about right there. Vince Russo, Rico, I'm going to send you a video of his latest episode. Vince Russo is turning a company around. He's producing what you and I love, which is sports entertainment. He's not taking wrestling back to the dark ages. And, we got another. Thank you so much. Very welcome super chat right here. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Thank you so much from JG_AB8233. Emir, according to WrestleNomics, AEW is getting 500,000 additional viewers through Max per episode. By the way, MJF was inactive for most of 2025. Well, I tell you what, 500,000 additional views is still barely 1 million views. But thank you for bringing that up. But that's still barely 1 million views. And again, that is a far cry from WWF's 8 to 9 million. And
I do actually stand corrected with MJF. There was a character arc where he started to turn babyface, and it completely changed his thing and his dynamic when he would trust and then wouldn't trust. That's on me for not remembering that. So that was, okay. So I do stand corrected on that. He was changing then. So, but yes, he's super true. He is very, very true there. He wasn't on the show much in 2025 because he was shooting movies and stuff. So
yeah, he was being an extra, actually. He was an extra. Let's just call him what he was, Martin. He was an extra in one of Adam Sandler's comedies.
Honestly, Happy Gilmore 2, he was the best part of it. Not going to lie.
Rico, you see what Martin's trying to do here? You see what he's trying to do? He's trying to lobby for MJF right now.
Happy Gilmore was so good. The second one wasn't so great, and he stood out to me. So,
well, I'll tell you why he stood out, Martin. Do you want to know why he stood out to you?
Why is that?
because you're a pro wrestler. Of course he's going to stand out to you. Right? So there you go. Right? Anyway, I just, hey, got to bring the entertainment. That's what we're all about here on the Masters of Wrestling. We're giving you more than everybody else. That's why you're here with us right here on the Masterclass. We give you wrestling the way it's meant to be. Hey, it's supposed to be good guy and bad guy. It's supposed to be controversy, right? Just because we're in the podcast realm doesn't mean that does not spill over to us here. So that's why you need to join and become a channel member for just the price of a cup of coffee, $4.99 a month. You're going to get some unbelievable, very uncensored podcasts in our members only section. Of course, you'll get a shout out and your question asked on every single live stream for just $4.99 a month. So what are you waiting for? And again, load up your super chats and keep asking us your questions. I want to go into this next segment, Rico, while we got you still with us here, because we got about 10 minutes left with you.
About 3.
3
There we go.
minutes.
That's it. 3 minutes. We got it. Oh,
Okay.
look at that. We have
3-minute warning.
3 minutes. Look at that.
3-minute warning. All right. Okay. So very quick, but viewers, we're going to continue. Martin and I are going to continue. We may have another special guest hopping on with us in the second hour, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Okay, Martin. Now, I've talked to some of the agents in AEW, of course, Jerry Lynn, Jake the Snake Roberts, and I heard the same thing that, they tell these young guys before they're going to go out what they're going to do, how they should do these things. And a lot of these young punks are just basically flipping their noses at them, saying, no, we know better. And that's why half of the matches look like total crap. But anyway, now, Martin, are you okay to discuss some of the agents that you spoke to last night, just the positives of what they said?
I can talk about my experience last night for sure, yeah.
Okay, let's go right into it, and I want to bring Rico in on this. Go ahead, Martin. How did you find the agents?
So last night I was in a 8-man tag match, and it was dark. It was the last dark match before the start of the show, and our producer was Jerry Lynn. We had Billy Gunn in the match, so Jerry just literally said to us, please listen to him. There's not really much I can say, but listen to him, whatever he says, go from there. I will give you my critiques after. The match was very successful. The crowd absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. And then coming to the back after, every single critique Jerry gave on, hey, maybe you could have done this, maybe you could have done that, maybe next time try this. That is gold for a performer because it's okay. Well, I did this, and again, I tried this and tried this and tried this, and as a performer, you know what works. What you want to hear is, yeah, that didn't work. Here's how you can maybe fix that. Again, because wrestling is subjective, so it's like there's not only one way of doing something. So the way that match was handled for me was an absolute blessing. And that's the first time I've worked with Jerry. He was very complimentary of my work, which was absolutely mind-blowing for me because I grew up watching Jerry Lynn. So to know that I was kind of in the right direction and putting the right foot forward, to me, that's okay. Maybe I do know what I'm doing. Right. So, and I am my own worst critique. I never want to know what I've done right. I just want to know what I've done wrong so I can make it better. So to get his feedback and how he worked with me last night, I can't see how that's not relayed to all the talent.
Yeah, because obviously
at the end of the day, I'm not a guy under contract.
Because there's a lot of talent.
Just an extra. So for him to take the time that he took with me to explain stuff, I don't see how that's not being done with the rest of the roster that are under contract and getting paid each week.
Well, they're not listening, Martin. It's been documented. They're not listening. Now, Rico, when you were in AEW, just very quickly, did you work with an agent backstage before you went out with my, those two jabroni? My two nemesis is Monster and Mason, MXM. They're still running for me, Rico. They're still running for me. Even from last year's WrestleMania, still running.
Rico made them relevant.
We had the best tag team agent ever, and it was Billy Gunn.
Okay.
So we all had our input. Billy Gunn listened to all our input, and He came back about a half hour later, put the whole match together. And we did it, he said. That
There you go.
simple. And it was great. Pops everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially when you got me.
Yeah, I'm going to be a fanboy. That moment when you bumped and then turned into each other, I was just like, this is gold. This is, but again,
I bumped in and I was like,
here's the thing.
So
it also now goes back into people were invested in your character,
right?
All those years ago. So you're not changing the blueprint. Like there's nothing, you didn't do anything spectacular. You bumped into him, did that, and just it's so.
What baffles my mind, though, gentlemen, is again, Rico, it's like you said, if I'm in the presence of a Billy Gunn, if I'm in your presence of you, Paul Roma, somebody like that, and you guys tell me what you think the match should be, unlike some of these young jabronis who look like they just rolled out of bed that have a contract somehow in AEW or other places, I would just say, yes, sir. Okay, perfect. Whatever you say, because until I'm in the position, until I'm a veteran in the game, until I've been in there a good decade or more, saying I've really gotten over and I know my craft, I'm not going to question what those legends that have gone before. So, Martin, what do you think it is with these young yuppies that think they know better than these legends? What is it? What's their mental problem?
Maybe it's
this. But before you answer, Martin, I gotta go. I have chores. I got 3 horses, 3 dogs, 15 chickens I gotta take care of.
All right, Rico, my man, God bless you. And I will be recording Styling right here on the Masters of Wrestling. Will be out next week. Rico, I will chat with you a little bit later, my friend.
All right,
Rico, thank you so much. It is always a pleasure, sir. Always.
Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you.
You guys have a great show. Everybody, God bless, and good to see you.
Absolutely.
So much,
God bless you, brother. We'll talk to you in the next one.
All right.
All right. So, Martin, coming back to that. So, what is it? What is the mental disconnect that these youngsters have? And they just, they don't want to listen.
Yeah.
Did you experience any of that last night? No, naming names?
I saw a few people, but I don't know, like, just okay. Like, but I don't know, I didn't hear the whole conversation.
Yeah,
so I can't say, they just turned around and said, yeah, bollocks, I'm not fucking doing that.
Right.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. Sorry,
no worries.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the disconnect is, because I don't know if it's because I came up earlier, but it was always the way I see it. If someone's got more experience than me and they've done what I've wanted to do, okay, they must have a common general knowledge of something that I didn't do because they're in that position I wanted to be. So I don't know if it's this new generation that are just like, it's fine, we can just do what. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Yeah. I really don't, because it's, again, you can point the finger, but then you also look at some of the new, like the guys that are coming up now, and they're workhorses and they are awesome. And, their matches are fire. Like, so I can't even say, well, they should have done, like, no, they didn't, because our job as a professional wrestler is to have the fans on their feet, booing, cheering, being indifferent, picking their noses, whatever we're supposed to make them do.
Yeah.
So I see guys that are in this new style, or whatever you want to call it, and the fans are doing what they're supposed to. So I can't say it's wrong. So
unless there's a producer standing out there saying, everybody get on your feet and cheer right now. I've been into some wrestling productions where there are people who do that.
I've been there back in NXT when I've seen people going cheer, boo, cheer, boo. Yep, I've seen it. Yep.
Where I saw that? Total nonstop assholes. TNA last year. That's where I saw that. I saw people. I saw a director directing the crowd, the half-empty arena, where they'd given out free tickets to cheer and boo and get on their feet. But then again, we're going to get into TNA in a little bit.
See, as a performer, for me personally, I would hate that.
Right.
Like, let me go fail or let me go succeed.
Yeah.
Don't dictate it for me. Because I personally need to know what works, what doesn't.
Right. Exactly.
But that's just me. Like, maybe people don't want to think like that. Maybe it's just this new age of the internet and 20-second reels. But I don't know. I really don't know.
It's very cancerous. Let's just say the least. But
Yeah. I mean, the best thing I did was deleting X. That was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Because now I don't see any toxic. Even, I would engage with people, and then I very quickly realized it was down to you only get engagement if it's confrontational.
Yeah.
And that's not a good way to live. It's terrible, So I don't know.
Well, it is. It's a strange thing. Okay, I want to bring this up right now because this is straight out of the Hollywood Reporter. Now, we just talked about a SAP wrestling media company called FIGHTFUL, who are just completely lopsided and biased. And again, it was created by Marks barely 10 years ago. It's not a great, credible company. So again, I'm not going to listen to any crap that they spew out. But nonetheless, the Hollywood Reporter are true and trusted. They've been around for a number of years. They got their finger on the pulse in Hollywood. They released an article yesterday. AEW is not going to Netflix in the Warner Brothers deal. So the article, everybody can go out there and find it. Just look up Hollywood Reporter, AEW deal. There was a 519-page document which described all the properties that will be going along in the sale when Netflix purchased Warner Brothers Discovery, and AEW was nowhere in those documents whatsoever. They have zero interest in taking it over. There was conversation about WWE in those documents because obviously they have a deal with WWE, so they will not be airing them on there. The current AEW deal ends in 2 years, and they are expected to go straight off of TV and straight into the streaming world. Now, Martin, I have my opinions about this, and again, I'm not wishing ill upon anybody. I hope for AEW to succeed. But when I hear you go to streaming, I hear the writing's on the wall. You're one step closer to shutting your doors permanently. Because they won't have that impact of being in the general public eye. The only way people will find out about it is if they have that app, if they're knowledgeable of wrestling. Right now, someone could be channel surfing on a Wednesday night. Oh, what's this on TNT? That will no longer be the case in 2 years.
Okay, yeah, true. But also to that point, you can't click on Monday night and find Raw. You have to go on Netflix.
But most people have Netflix, Martin. That's the big difference. We're talking
now
about,
it all depends on what streaming app they land on.
Right. And again,
at the end of the day, who has AMC? I have AMC only because it comes free with my Roku TV.
Right. But we know AMC, we know that's just a token gesture. We know WWE owns TNA now. Yeah, we know that they own them. It's basically OVW NXT Mach 2.
1,000%. Like I will literally put my word on this, or my life on this right now. If and when they sell to Saudi, I have a feeling NXT will disappear. Mm-hmm. That the whole performance center and developmental will be gone.
Oh, no, Martin, are you saying we won't get to see the amazing acting skills of Dwayne's daughter on a weekly basis?
Wait, I haven't finished. Well, I haven't finished.
Okay.
That will be gone, and TNA will be whatever they want it to be. That's what I feel it's going to be. Because the fact that TNA is on a streaming site because of this helping hand, but NXT is not.
Babysitting.
NXT is not.
Right. NXT is getting relegated. You know what? I have a pet peeve. I have a bee in my bonnet about Brian Pillman Jr. That man should be at the top of NXT right now. Son of one of the legendary figure, Brian Pillman. The man has talent. The man can talk. The man has a look. Why are they pushing these? Why are they pushing this Obi-Wan Kenobi guy? What is this Obi-Wan guy I keep hearing about? No, I don't even know his name. Obi-Wan Kenobi. They keep saying he's going to be the next breakout star. I can't even find pictures of the guy.
I mean, he does. He does go to the gym in his NXT shirt, so everyone knows who he is. Bless him.
Oh.
That's only because I train at the same gym, and it just makes me laugh. Like,
Well, if he comes up and
I'm
says
trying to
anything to
attract
you, Martin,
attention. Don't do
Don't.
that. Just go in the gym and lift. Like, don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
So that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I can't even think.
Well, okay.
Help me,
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. You've just killed it now.
That's what they said.
No,
They said he should use that on a t. Hey, I tell you what, if you're watching Obi-Wan, we keep coming up with genius character ideas. You're welcome. Put that on a T-shirt. I'm your only hope. Right there. Boom. You'll make it killing.
So he's a very, very, very impressive performer in terms of presence.
Uh-huh.
I liken him to how, like, the type of presence and aura that Goldberg had.
Okay.
And again, my opinion isn't gospel. Personally, in ring, I could. It's just another guy.
Yeah.
But the presentation they have behind him is fantastic, and he is about to make. I believe he's going to be. I believe he's called up, and he'll be making his debut soon. Okay. So it will be interesting to see how they handle that. Because at the end of the day, WWE can make anyone a star. Mm-hmm. It does not matter who it is. Mm-hmm. When you see guys that leave and go
apparently, evidently, right, Martin? Evidently, because what we're looking at, evidently.
But when you look at how guys were presented and how the fans are behind them, and then you see them go elsewhere and they get lackluster pops because they do the same stuff in ring, and it's I've seen, but the machine isn't behind them. It just goes to show if that machine is behind you and you get the magic, it's you. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter who you are. You are going.
Hunter, my Uncle Paul, it's you. And I want to address something, Martin.
If you get that and the machine is behind you, you are going to be set.
Yeah, Martin, I just want to address something here because we got someone in and I don't know if this is you, Bodacious Suave, because I see the name Matthew under here. Number one, I have zero jealousy out of any of these people. And I think, Martin, you understand it. I think, students, you understand that. I could care less, all right? The only reason we're saying this is because we care about professional wrestling. And again, yes, I'm going to be raw. Yes, I'm going to call it the way it is. Because at the end of the day, people not calling things the way it is and people sugarcoating things is the reason why almost 11 million plus, 12, 13 million plus wrestling fans dropped off the face of the planet and have not returned over the last 20 years. So yes, I get passionate about what I'm talking about. Jealousy, absolutely not. I could care less because, to be perfectly honest with you, like I said, I don't see many of these guys out there right now, and you know this, Martin, I don't see them as stars whatsoever. I see them as lackluster. They don't put in any friggin' effort or whatnot. And like I said, I've challenged many people here over the past few weeks. I've said, hey, go and grab if you got kids up to the age of 10, sit them down, have them watch Royal Rumble 91, and then have them watch Royal Rumble of last year. And you tell me which one they were more engaged in, or Survivor Series 90 or Survivor Series 89. And you tell me which one they prefer, because I'm guarantee you now the golden era will always come up tops. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, Martin, to clear the air here, because, when people say that, it's just, I just want to clarify why we're doing this.
Of course. And again, as I always tell people that ask me, how do I get there, this and that, like, just because it didn't work out for me doesn't mean I wish that everyone would be like, fuck that place and just, no I'm not interested. Go there, go and make as much money as you can, go and become a star. Yeah. Just because it didn't work out for me it never means that I would stop someone from trying to do that. You just have to be careful and have to realize what wrestling is,
Yeah. Yeah, what wrestling is
now, like we all want it to be, just amazing and just, can't miss TV every week. It's the backstage stuff that's,
Yeah, it is. But coming back to TNA, you sent me an interesting anecdote about TNA because they just had their first show here, and you got a statement from, I guess, one of the executives at TNA, right? So what was
funny enough, I found this online.
Okay, you found this online, and I'm going to try.
I don't know if it was one of the. This was Dave LaGreca. is what I'm
Dave LaGreca, is he a wrestling connoisseur or is he an executive?
I believe that's one of the guys on Busted Open Radio. He's been in, yeah.
Okay, so another non-true wrestling entity, just another basically company that was created.
I mean, they have not Devon, sorry, excuse me. They have Bubba and Tommy Dreamer on that show. So I don't know Dave's background. I don't know. So I can't comment on that.
Well, this is what he said. AMC, they were over the moon with TNA, he said. I got to speak with an executive, and I asked them. This is what he says. He says he spoke to an executive. No one ever seen this. I said, how important is a basic cable rating? The executive told him, to be honest, by itself, it's meaningless. It means nothing, really. So when TV shows get canceled for poor ratings, it means nothing? Okay, interesting response. He says, people get hung up on that number. And he said, the number means SHIT by itself. Interesting. Interesting to hear an executive talk like that in the public. What a scumbag. But when you add it with everything else, it is because it's an equation. I don't know. He misspelled something there. They misquoted him. But anyway, it continues. It continues, Martin. So he says, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And AMC and TNA are looking at this like a marathon, LaGreca said. We can't judge it by 1 week, though criticisms that we heard, I think, are valid. There's going to be growing pains. They have to change those things for the long haul. So he's admitting basically that the first episode tanked because it only had 600,000 views, right? 0.6?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So do you know what I get from that?
Mm-hmm.
And this is really sad to admit and say. If everything goes streaming, no one cares if content's good.
You know what? It's true. Where are your standards? That's what I'm saying, Martin. You and I have very high standards.
To say that just ratings don't matter. Okay, on the grand scheme of things, your average mum, dad, the 3 kids sitting at home and the dog with the white picket fence and the
former U.S. Dream. Yeah.
Okay, they're not gonna understand TV ratings.
No,
they just want to be entertained.
Right.
But for people that do know that, just to say, well, ratings don't matter. We just got to put out whatever. That's sad.
You know what?
Are we going into a realm and a world of, well, work rate doesn't matter, so we can just put out whatever, and we're going to make people like it.
Well, or manipulating them into thinking it's great, like this sap of a company, Fightful Pro.
That's
right.
Sad to hear that.
Is very sad. You know what I was thinking as you were saying that?
Now it makes me like, did I try too hard? Like, am I wrong for taking pride in, making sure that you seem like,
yeah, but you're not.
I hate that for talent if they're in that mindset of, well,
I hope not.
It doesn't matter because it's, it's not live. We're only streaming. It don't matter.
No, it does matter. It always matters. And I think that's why guys back in the golden era and the ruthless aggression era, most of our dear buddies, the legends here, they took pride in their work. Vince Russo's taken pride in his work. You've seen the incredible leaps and bounds that he's done in JCW in the short time he's been there. Production values, camera angles, everything else, the lighting, the color, everything. He's already leaps.
The YouTube channel gets more and more views and more likes and subscriptions every single week. So he's doing something right.
He's doing something right. He's taking it to that next level. And again, that's what people respond to. I think, yes, probably some of these bigger companies are thinking, people are into AI now. They're becoming lazier and it's very sad. And again, you got to pinch yourself and wake up. It's like if you think computers are going to do everything for you, what's the purpose of your life? Why are you here?
So to that point, I have a friend of mine who is a graphic designer, and he's already kind of panicking, like, man, I'm going to have to change fields because in the next year I'm going to be obsolete. Right. And that's so sad. That's really sad. And it's like, is wrestling going to become the next AI casualty? I mean, they already did it with putting the poster out there. I don't know if you saw that or heard about that. So they put out a poster and a graphic of Dominic Mysterio, but the picture was AI'd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They put the AEW belt on it.
And they put the AEW title on him. Now, some people will be like, oh, well, that was just an AI mishap. No. That was someone going, Dominic Mysterio put this filter on with the AEW title, and that came up a few times.
You
So
know,
now it's like a WWE suggesting that Dominic Mysterio is bigger than AEW.
are they trying to
Now
take?
it's like, wow, are you really like? Yeah, it's
Well, I've already hypothesized this with my dear co-star over on Power and Glory, Mr. Mario Mancini, former WWE wrestler. You know, we've already hypothesized the fact that, and I'm already working on it, by the way. I'm trying to be ahead of the curve. We're already producing a totally AI-generated wrestling promotion from top to bottom. Okay, so at the end of the day,
I better be pushed to the moon in that. Come on.
The patent's already locked
I
in.
better
The
be
copyright.
6'5", 290-pound and world champion.
Exactly. The guys whose likenesses are going to get contracts. You know, the patents are already in, the copyright's already in, the program's already been written. We're going to be the first to launch an all AI wrestling promotion. No overhead, no travel, nothing, no problems. Our wrestlers could live forever in the cyberspace. So it's coming. It's coming. You know, it's coming, and we can, you know, license rights to wrestlers who are from the past, who've maybe passed away, bring them back to life. Everything else. So I mean, it's already happening. So it's already happening, Martin. It's already right around the corner. So that's what I'm saying. We got to be careful how much, and also Matthew, stop being so disrespectful in the comments there. Mario is a wealth of knowledge. The man has a law degree. The man took himself back to law school in his 30s. He's a very successful father, very successful in everything he's done. So please be more respectful to Mario, or just clear out. We don't need that kind of nonsense here. But yeah, like I was saying, so Martin, you know, AI is very real. It does seem to make people a little bit more lazy, and I would hope that more and more people try and base everything off their own talent rather than always relying on a machine. Because if that grid goes down and you're too heavily relied on that machine, you're going to be lost.
Hey, there was a movie that came out in the 80s that kind of let us know how this is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Terminator with Skynet. So we kind of know how this is going to go. So people need to not invest in it as much.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, exactly. They need to know not to invest in. But what I think they should invest in, which we're going to bring up next, is JCW. Like I said, yes. I can't speak enough positive things about Vince Russo. You know, for years, Vince has his podcast. He's been on numerous podcasts. He's hopefully going to be joining us here very, very soon on our channel. We've been in communication with him. And, you know, years ago, people thought he was not, you know, they had their feelings about him, that he did this and he didn't do that and blah, blah, blah. But as time goes by and the wisdom shines through, people are starting to realize now, yes, Vince Russo knows exactly what he's talking about. And again, some people I think are just, you know, they get offended maybe by the way he talks because, again, too many people have been conditioned that, you know, too softly. You know, it's like the parent who never, because he's honest. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Honesty. Truth hurts. Truth cuts.
It does. It does.
All right.
Especially in a predetermined business.
Yeah. But I love Vince's honesty. I love what he's doing in JCW. Now, we've got one of our channel members who's become a contributor, Muhammad. Now, he sent us that document. Martin, can you pull it up? Because my printer was off.
Yeah.
So I sent it to you via email. He's given us a complete rundown of last week's episode of JCW. So we're going to go into a little bit about that. We want to give our props to JCW. Maltz has got a question, and as a channel member for just $4.99 a month he spends, we bring him up on the screen. Emir, have you ever met Ben Hameen? He works with Vince Russo. I think you two would hit it off. Please have him on the show. Well, actually, I do respect the heck out of Ben Hameen. I've heard him on Russo's show. I think he's a tremendous mind for wrestling. Another man who speaks the truth, is not afraid to, brings up valid points. He has a mind for the business. Now, again, someone like Ben, he could run a wrestling company. That's, you know, once you've got a mind for it, like he does, again, tremendous. I think I would hit it off. In fact, Bodacious Suave has brought him up to me many times. I'm sure that our paths will cross. We will cross paths very, very soon, and I would love to have him on the show with us here to speak some pearls of wisdom to all of our students out here. Again, we're here, Martin and I, Bodacious Suave, Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, Rico Constantino, Simba. we're Simbodi. We're here to help professional wrestling first and foremost. If we didn't care, we wouldn't be here. All right. So always remember that. All right. We may be harsh on some people, but look what I'm going to backtrack it. Martin, I've never said Tony Khan a bad thing about Tony Khan.
Nope,
I always said he's probably a really decent man that a lot of people are taking advantage of, and I know they are because I've heard him. Okay,
from the whole vibe I got last night with how, and again, I'm going to compare it to, again, I've been on the main roster when I was on 205, so I know, how it was backstage, and obviously I've been on TV at NXT. The vibe there, everyone was smiling, everyone was laughing, and I never felt the sense of the talent walking on eggshells. And this is an outsider looking in. So for me, as a talent, I see a boss that's trying to cultivate a great working environment for the betterment of what goes out in front of the cameras. Okay. And you can't ask for more than that. You cannot ask for anything more than that.
Well, we've offered our assistance to Tony Khan many times. Paul Roma and I, Paul's often, in fact, I think he's been in correspondence with the office. Say, let me come down. Let me run a couple of shows. Let me show you. Let me talk to the talent, right? Okay. All Tony needs is he needs some harder hands that he gives a position of authority to come in there and crack that damn whip and say, no, you're going to listen to that agent. If you go out there and you try any flashy shit, or you go behind and you do what you think is best and not listen to this legend, you're going to be fined. And 2 fines, the third one, you're out of the company. Simple as that. He should have another policy in there where if a wrestler gets injured while on TV and their contract lasts another 2-3 years, fair play. Keep them under contract, keep paying them their contract. If they're doing something else stupid somewhere else on an indie show, right, and they get injured outside of AEW, right, or whatever it is, I think there should be a clause in that contract that he keeps them under pay for a certain period of time. They have the option to come back, but at a certain point, that's it. Cut it off, because they shouldn't have been out there doing foolish things somewhere else to get injured in the first place.
To play devil's advocate.
Go ahead, Martin.
If AEW talent are working independence while under contract, it's obviously a part of the contract. They are allowed to.
Okay.
Now, as someone that worked for WWE, you had to, if a third party wanted to book you, it had to go through various channels, and they would handle everything down to your travel and everything like that. Maybe it's the same. I don't know. I'm not under contract. If that clause is in there where they can work elsewhere, I personally don't think there should be a cap. If they get hurt on that show, if the company is allowing them to work for that said place, then that puts them in if they were working TV.
All right, then this I want to throw this in there as well. Let's say a wrestler's not hurt and they're under contract, because Tony Khan has a habit of doing this. Again, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy, smart guy, very energetic guy. Okay, nothing bad to say about him personally. Now, I know for a fact that some of these guys have long-term contracts left to the tune of 2 or 3 years. And just because they've ran out of creative ideas, or maybe these wrestlers are too lazy to come up with ideas themselves or push themselves, they're sitting on their asses at home collecting a paycheck every month. That's usury right there. And I think there should be a clause in that contract that says, look, I don't have anything for you right now. I'm busy. Our creative teams are busy. Go away, flesh something out. But you are, as part of your contract, to present us with a new idea at least once every 2 weeks that we can assess with a promo and stuff like that. Otherwise, if you don't, after a certain period of time, you're fired, you're gone, or you only have 6 months, and after that, we're going to renegotiate your contract, or you're gone, period.
I'm pretty sure people do pitch if they're sitting at home. I'm pretty sure people do go, I'm not TV. Okay, I would 99.9% bet on my life that people are going to throw ideas forward. Whether or not it gets hooked, is a different story. But then you can only pitch so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that the ideas are not good. You know,
No.
you could have someone that's like got a money idea, but we can't really do that right now because of whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sure talent aren't just sitting there like, I'm just going to wait until I get booked in the next.
I don't know, Martin. I know some personally who have had years sitting on their asses. Have they started anything? Have they done a podcast? Have they done anything else? No, they've done nothing to promote themselves out in the general public.
That comes down to the person.
Correct.
So I don't think you can put all talent in that bracket.
No, some people.
I 100% know that there's a lot of creative guys. I mean, again, let's talk about Karrion Kross. Do you think he was sitting at home just collecting a paycheck?
Absolutely not. But that guy is a genius.
That guy is
do
something.
Yeah,
exactly. Like just trying to knock the wall down.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I do believe there's a lot of people that are doing that, but it doesn't get through.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, let's go into JCW for a little bit here because we got a little bit of other news as well. So now Maltz, who I just brought up on the screen, is actually Muhammad, who sent us this document. So Maltz, Muhammad, thank you so much for sending this. So Martin, at your leisure, read off what Maltz put, and Muhammad put, and we'll deliberate on that for our viewers here.
Right out of the gate, the episode starts with a recap of the previous week, and it does a great job summarizing the highlights. Overall, the show leaned hard into backstage segments and ongoing angles, which kept everything moving. It reminded me a lot of the Attitude Era Raw and those 2000 era WCW Nitro episodes.
Okay, so right there, Martin.
Right out the gate.
That is a recipe for what, Martin?
Success.
Exactly. Hook at the beginning of the show. Tells you what happened last week to keep anyone new or anyone that forgot up to speed real fast. He doesn't take friggin' 15 minutes to do it. And then he gets straight into the vignette, straight into the backstage, everything. It's very raw. Okay, what else is Muhammad saying on this?
Okay, and the next segment was a Ken Anderson and James Storm brawl.
Two well-known names.
Very well-known names.
Very smart.
I have worked James Storm, So I've never had the pleasure of meeting Ken Anderson, but anyway, we go to Ken Anderson tries to apologize to James Storm, but it immediately turns into a backstage fight that spills into the arena and ends with Anderson standing tall after belt, weapon shots, and his finisher. It had familiar characters from the peak TNA days, and I enjoyed the subtleties of continuing the Anderson Storm story in a way that feels less common today.
Now that right there, Martin, is Karen. If it's still that segment.
Yep. I also like that Anderson wore street clothes in a street fight. It reminded me of the Shawn Michaels Edge street fight back in 2005. Great touch. And thankfully, it wasn't a bloodbath or full of dangerous bumps, just gritty, heated, and believable.
Wow. Yes. Perfect.
It drives me insane when people would come to the ring to cut a promo in a heated face-off and they're wearing spandex.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
No.
Not even real.
Just you've taken me out of it.
Yeah.
You've taken me out of it. And the fact that he is talking about it being gritty, wrestling doesn't need to be pretty. It needs to be ugly. It needs to be a schmoz of just everything thrown at the wall. It doesn't need to be polished, choreographed. Right. It doesn't need to be a dance.
Exactly. Because when you're in a real fight, it's not polished.
It's not. Yeah. It's like fists are flying, teeth are being busted out, people are being bit and spit on, and it's not.
Well, you know what I saw. You know what I saw the other day, just to pivot, and then you can get back into that, Martin. Royal Rumble 91 just dropped on the WWE Vault. So, of course, I'm going to watch it. It's been a while since I watched it. So every time an entrant comes in, you know what they do? They run to the ring. They can't wait to get in there. Unless they were a coward. They take the time.
To try and win the match.
Exactly. Anyway. Martin, back to
don't even get me started on the Rumble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to the JCW review.
JCW, here we go. The big talking segment thread continues with Big Al and her accusations involving Vince Russo, plus the infamous something in the bag bit.
Oh, yeah.
I personally enjoyed it. It was different, which is what's missing in this day and age of professional wrestling.
Exactly. You
So
know
he
what the
lit
story?
2 paragraphs.
Hooked. 2 paragraphs.
Right. This is what wrestling is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Wanting you to see more. What happens next?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And that storyline is brilliant, by the way. It's almost like in the storyline, Vince Russo's trying to make moves on her. It's very great. It's very great.
And again, but we live in that day and age of the Me Too movement and the cancel culture of guys do creep on girls. It happens.
It's not.
It happens.
It happens every day. Every day. Continue, Mark.
He then goes on to say, I also love the Big Vito segments with Yabo and Ruffo, Jasmine St. Clair, Barnabas, and the Zombies. I'll admit, I only recently started watching JCW, and then in parentheses, because of Vince Russo. So I'm still learning the full background of some characters, but I'm very familiar with Big Vito and Jasmine. I'm not too crazy about the clowns yet, but it's different, and it will probably grow on me.
Absolutely. Well, these zombie characters are fantastic.
So what does that mean? The clowns?
Yeah.
It's going to grow on me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
There's going to be a final destination to those characters.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, Mr. Russo, if you're watching, you're just a genius. That's all I'm going to say straight off the bat. This is,
Thank you for making wrestling.
I've watched this show and I've really enjoyed it, but hearing someone break it down like this gives it a whole different level, and I'm like,
it does. We're creating JCW fans right now as we speak, Martin. So continue with the review.
Barnabas also reminded me of James Mitchell. Very similar vibe and mannerisms. Great acting. The Zombies, the Outbreak, were interesting and unique. This is the first time I've ever seen zombies portrayed in wrestling.
Very true.
Except for the abysmal whatever the match was at Halloween Havoc, when the zombies come up from underneath the ring and dragged Dexter Loomis or whoever it was underneath the ring, and it wasn't good. Yeah. But the way those guys are working those gimmicks is absolutely fantastic. It is.
They really are.
Right. Okay, so next we go to the Outbreak in Russo's office. Later, Barnabas and the Outbreak confront Russo in his office about Vito's involvement in their title situation. Russo shuts down the idea of a rematch, parentheses, since the champs already wrestled, and Barnabas anonymously pivots to feasting with the Outbreak. What he liked here is Russo wasn't all over the show. The spotlight stayed on the talent.
Yeah, oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, indeed. Exactly. Very, very smart. Yeah, he does that very, very well. And again, that's a very good trait for a producer, a showrunner, essentially. Yeah. The guy who's writing the show.
You don't have to be the central focus of attention.
Well, none of the wrestlers do. None of them ever do. That's the whole point. Yeah.
Okay, and then we go to Jeeves versus Stephen Flo.
Okay.
Which is hilarious, because that song
hilarious.
It's awesome. It's so
Stephen Flo.
Awesome, yeah. And then in parentheses it says ring rack stipulation.
He's got a manager. He's got a manager with him. Yeah, ring rack.
Okay. So that's right. Yes.
Which what ring rats meant back in the day, right?
Yeah. So I think that's. I believe she wrestles on the independent circuit as Black Dahlia.
Okay.
In JCW, she's known as Ring Rat. This was more angle-driven than match-driven. Flo gets the win, but the bigger takeaway is the awkward tension around Caleb Conley. Shout out to Caleb. Absolutely love that man to death. Good friend of mine. Really, really good talent. Jeeves and the Ring Rat situation. I really like Stephen Flo's grunge character. It feels like a fun play on 90s Even Flow vibes, and it will land for fans like me.
There you go.
So those millions of fans that WWE have lost over the years, he has literally just alluded to the fact, well, I grew up in that era.
And it's coming back.
And you've got one guy that's...
come back in. One of the lost.
So what we've been talking about, this whole thing, stories. We're not trying to bury wrestling promotions. Mm-mm. We want wrestling to be great again. We want it to be the forefront of entertainment when it was must-see TV, when kids would go into school and be like, do you see what DX did to the Nation of Domination last night? Oh, my God, I can't believe it. Suck it. And, we want that back again. And the fact that someone is, I don't know how old you are, my good man, but let's assume late, mid-30s, probably for the time period, has literally just said it's reeled him back in.
Yep. And that's what we're talking about right here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, students of the game, our game, not my Uncle Paul's. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to reel back in the wrestling fans. We're trying to push that narrative out there so we can bring some of those fans back and again, but continue with JCW. This is fantastic, Martin.
And again, this is great. The Ring Rat name is hilarious. Only true wrestling fans will get that reference. I also like the stipulation. It felt original, unique, and had that classic Russo energy. Yeah. It reminded me of things like the Reverse Battle Royal and TNA. A bit wonky, but wrestling is far too polished nowadays.
You just said it.
And it doesn't hurt to have some originality behind it. Okay, I'm just going to flat out say this dude should be writing. For someone. This dude, this is...
Well, Muhammad is writing for us. He's going to be a huge contributor here. I've even had discussions with him about we may even do a special segment. He brought that up to me where he may even just come on for a segment on our live streams, and he'll take the lead of the JCW review, and we'll come in and discuss it with him. So we may be giving him a segment soon. That's what happens here on the Masters of Wrestling. This is a family. You don't just hit that join and become a channel member for nothing. There's plenty of other perks that come along with it. We're starting a revolution here, right? This is a pro wrestling revolution.
People listening, watching, this isn't an us versus them. This is how do we make wrestling great again?
Exactly.
How do we bring it back to its forefront, the glory days, just when I was a fan growing up, when I was a young kid, when I was 6 or 7 and I first got mesmerized, and then as I got older and then I got pulled back in, how do we get back to that? Yeah. That's what this channel is about.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what it's about. That's what Martin and I are about when we work out there in the circuit. That's what our intentions are. Our intentions are to entertain each and every one of you, make that a memorable occasion, not just a spot fest, not just, it's something that you're going to carry away and remember. And when you meet us outside of it, we're going to treat you like true gentlemen. We're going to treat you very kindly. We're going to sign your autographs, take time with you, etc., etc. And we're not going to cuss, and we're not going to hit you either, like some of these wrestlers do. Anyway, continue, Martin.
Okay, and then we get to side note. I highly recommend watching the JCW post show with Mac Davis and the Ring Rat. She has a really emotional backstory that's worth hearing. I'm definitely a fan of hers after watching that.
Okay,
I do believe she has a. I can't remember the name of it, CPS or what, something where she has a really bad condition. Okay. And the fact that she's in there taking bumps and doing stuff like that, props to her for that.
Yeah.
Props to her for that. Because
very much so.
Yeah, that's, Tag titles, the Brothers of Funstruction. I absolutely love that.
Yep.
Versus St. Clair Monster Corporation. Doc Hendricks rules.
What?
This was a fun tag title match. The Monster Corporation miscommunication was the story, and the champ survived through the chaos. It was goofy, but it told a story. I also like that they used Doc Hendricks rules instead of Freebird rules.
Right. That's freaking
Which is
genius.
A great nod for old school fans. Yes, it is. I do like that. Yeah. The Monster Corporation also reminded me a lot of the oddities, especially Kurgan and Golga. Silly, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Wrestling doesn't have to be serious. Wrestling is the circus. The lion tamer is different than the acrobats. The acrobats are different than the clowns. The clowns are different from the fire breathers or sword swallowers. It's a general thing of there's a bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah, it's amalgamation of characters.
One person is literally describing every single segment being different.
Yeah, exactly. What you're seeing, what Muhammad has done so beautifully.
Yeah, thumbs up for you. You have broken this down amazingly, sir.
You know what we need to do, Martin? We need to bring back a magazine. As you help us skyrocket to being the #1 wrestling podcast on the planet, we will endeavor to bring back a magazine. We need a magazine. We need a magazine. We need writers like Muhammad to tell a story and break it down. Maybe it's just a JCW magazine. Maybe that's all it is, because at the end of the day, that sounds like the most riveting right now out of all the wrestling promotions. JCW, I'm telling you, when you're reading this to me, if I was a 7-year-old kid and you're reading that to me, I'm going to watch this product because already the characters and everything. Yeah.
Just, and again, it's a YouTube show that the way he's broken this down is more engaging than TV.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
It's, again, who's behind the helm? I
Vince
can't say anything else. I
Vince
cannot
Russo.
say anything else. Who's behind the helm right now?
Vince Russo.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so after that, we get to dog collar match. Big Al versus Haley J. For anyone that's unsure who Haley J is, she was the female wrestler that was spotlighted on the Netflix show The Wrestlers, which was a documentary-based event on OVW. Okay, this was wild and showed Big Al's acting chops and character work. I really like her, and I think she's got a great future. The way she roped Haley J into putting on the dog collar while avoiding it herself was a great heel move. I would 100% have to agree on that. For me, this is one of the better matches of the night. Having Danny Moe interfere to help Haley J also furthers the story and gives a hook to watch next week's episode.
Not only that, a dog collar match. I mean, you're bringing back memories of Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine.
Okay, the biggest takeaway from that, okay, the way I'm reading this, so we got dog collar, 1, 2. So there is 2 more matches before the main event. The main event should always obviously hook you in to watch, to tune in to what's going on next.
Yeah.
And now we have a guy that.
How many matches have you got so far? Because I know WWE only has about 4 matches on.
We only have 4. So we have. Where are we? We have.
It's about 4 or 5 already, right?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just about to get onto the 5th match.
And it's only an hour and 10-minute show. Yep. And they got segments and flashbacks.
And promos and advertisements and everything like that,
Wow. Brilliant.
But what Absolutely I love about this is that the main event is obviously what brings you back. Mm-hmm. We now have a fan that is watching the show that is hooked to want to come back to watch before the main event.
Yeah.
And that, I feel, was pivotal back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if you go back and look at the mid-card in the 2000s of WWF, you had performers that had been wrestling 20-plus years.
Yeah.
Wow. And that was your mid-card. So you had guys that could tell stories, could work a crowd, had been all over the world, were well-traveled. And they weren't even the featured stars of the show.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
So... there we go.
You know what? Honestly, going back to that episode of Monday Night Raw I watched very quickly, the Stranger Things episode, I tried to get through it just to do research, but I couldn't even watch it. I had to turn it off during the Rhea Ripley tag team
I'm
match.
a huge fan of Stranger Things. I still haven't watched the whole thing because I've heard so many conflicting stories about it, and every part of me wants to watch it, but then every part of me doesn't because I love what they've done so far. Okay. And I kind of don't want to be let down by it. So I'm still torn in between.
Yeah.
Okay, so for political reasons, I know that some of the actors wouldn't have been on the show, which is fine. Yeah. But why did they not do a pre-tape? Again, this was just me watching it. Just the pre-tape. So obviously in the actual show, you had that one part where they're all standing there waiting to go into the upside down, and they look at each other and they're like, are we doing this? Do we? And they have that moment of doubt, and then it pans into like the ups. Yeah. Why did they not just film something like that? Are we going to do this tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it turns into the building for Raw, and the music hits. Then they bring in they could have literally brought them in with backstage segments and linked Stranger Things into the show without the actors being there.
Easily.
It was
I said
such
the
a
same thing.
letdown. It was
Yeah.
like the set. I wouldn't even say the set was great. Like everyone's like, "Oh,
No.
the set was amazing." It was a bus and like a couple of twigs.
Well, it was
That's
amazing.
how I saw it. I didn't
was-
think it was good.
It was amazing to fans because most of the entrances in these day and age have been subpar. This is not Bash at the Beach. Remember that entrance? That was great, right?
Yeah.
Halloween Havoc was great back in WCW. But I think that was it. But Martin, let's go back to JCW.
Sorry,
I want to keep our
I do apologize about that.
no worries.
Okay. Oh, hang on a minute.
So we're going to get back to the JCW review of last week's episode.
Dog collar match. Okay. JCW American title, which is the best of 3 falls match. Okay, so this is your wrestling match on the card.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? So the way the whole card has been structured right now is character, work rate, character. Now we're really going to get into the thick of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have Ninja Mac, who is a very exceptional talent, very, very good. He is the current champion versus Fake-Aid. Fake-Aid has an amazing look to him.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of, God rest his soul, Jay Briscoe with the dreads and stuff like that. He's very, very colorful, whereas Jay was very, camo, boom, boom, boom. The Briscoe brothers are, again, one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yeah.
So for me to be brought in by that's a very, very big credit to Fake-Aid. And again, this is going on look.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll go. This was the pure wrestling highlight for me. The Ninja versus Ninja presentation is corny in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
And once they got going, it turned into fast-paced, creative offense. Ninja Mac takes it, and I'm interested in the rest of the series. The moves these two were pulling off were phenomenal. It had a bit of a Ring of Honor feel with a mutual respect, and I personally think Fake-Aid is destined for greatness. Even the way he stretches his back and neck right before the bell rings. Great little detail.
Yeah.
So all he's doing is warming up, and that's hooked somebody in.
Yeah.
It's the little things in between. The little things in between mean the most.
Exactly.
And it's little things like that you wouldn't. And again, maybe Fake-Aid was aware of that. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he just did it.
Yeah.
But whatever he did, boom, hooked.
Well, Brett used to do that. Remember, he used to do that to his neck, and he used to twitch. And because, again, it just leads you in. It's just a little character thing that most of the other people don't do. But again, you're talking about your athleticism. So now, for someone like me, who I've been very blunt, I'm into sports entertainment. Now I can handle watching that amidst another card where you've given me what I already want, which is character work and vignettes and promos. Now I can handle one match or two like that, but I can't handle it if it's the entire way through. I'm not interested.
So students, what we are talking about right now, what is happening? Build, fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Build, bigger fireworks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wrestling storytelling.
That's it right there. That's it. Okay. Let's go back to the JCW review. This is amazing.
Now we get to Mosh Pit Funk versus Madman Pondo.
Great names.
Yeah. Mosh Pit. Yeah, that is a great name. Yeah. Short, chaotic, chair heavy. I like the Terry Funk attire Mosh Pit had on. A nice tribute to a legend. And seeing Vampiro is never a bad thing. He's an icon. Cannot agree more. You need these matches that are a short, sharp shock. And just that could have been an enhancement match. It could have been a squash match. It could have been whatever. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it's chair heavy, I'm assuming they went in there and started swinging chairs at each other.
Again, there's a place.
There's a place for it. God bless them for being able to do that. I hate taking chair shots. Mm-hmm. So props to them for being able to do it and whatever this was, So that's great. That was that was one match I didn't catch.
Okay.
Because I do know I saw the best of 3 match, which was absolutely fantastic. And then the next match I saw was the main, so I missed that. So I will go back and watch that just so I can actually give my critique on that.
Yeah.
And then the main event, Caleb Conley versus Kerry Morton.
Okay.
Kerry Morton needs no introduction. The son, second generation from Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
Kerry is an absolute class act, an absolute gentleman, and a very, very good worker. I've seen him work babyface, and I've seen him work heel, and he can do both equally as good. Mm-hmm. I tend to prefer him as a heel because there's just that snarky little side of him that comes out.
Yeah.
And as a performer, I see that, and he has fun with it, leaning into that.
Oh yeah, he does.
So yeah, and again in parentheses, Macross involvement.
Mm-hmm.
Heel versus heel can be tricky, but they pulled it off fine. And again, this is a fan writing this. This isn't us students.
Right.
This isn't us writing this.
Right.
Kerry Morton has an outstanding future in this business. He's got the mannerisms down perfectly and carries himself like a second-generation guy.
He does.
Conde gets the win after Matt Cross shows up. Russo's influence has never been only about what happens between the ropes, but I thought this worked as a main event.
Yeah.
His final verdict. This is key right here in this opening sentence. For a new viewer and a lapsed fan like myself, I give this episode 8.5 out of 10.
That is incredibly high.
I wasn't too fond of the gratuitous cursing, especially the F word.
Well, we've talked about that. Yep.
I think they should tone that down a bit if they want to appeal to families and grow the audience. But I really love the continuous segments and threads woven throughout the episode. It gives the viewer a reason to come back and watch again.
Exactly.
Also, the show looked better visually. It feels like they've cleaned up the aesthetics of the arena, hidden the tarp more effectively, and improved the lighting, which gives it a more professional look.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely brilliant. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you so much. That was an absolute pleasure to read. And yeah, that was absolutely fantastic, my good man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. You are going to be contributing for us on a weekly basis here for the JCW review. And like I said, we may try and work out the details and Mohammed perhaps pop in on a
I would love to pick his brain, because I'll tell you what I get from that. I get a fan that isn't trying to be smart,
right?
Isn't trying to be part of the business, doesn't think he's a part of the business, is just a genuine fan that loves wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why we got into this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
well done.
Thank you so much, Mohammed.
Well done, Mohammed. We really appreciate that. Like I said, the Masters of Wrestling is just opening up. We're creating a family here, and this is a family who are really, pushing to see wrestling return to greatness. And I think that just summed it up right there. We've been saying all along about JCW. Vince Russo, his creativity, and it's showing out. Like again, a lost viewer coming back into the fray now. And watching this and being hooked by it, and even just reading it, it hooks you. See, that's the thing. That's the difference. Vince Russo is a writer. I worked as a writer for 10 years in Hollywood. I understand, Martin, you're a writer in your own right. You've booked shows before. You run stuff. You understand it too. It's a simple process. It's a simple process. But a lot of these other bigger companies are just missing the mark. I don't know who weaseled or bamboozled their way into these companies. I mean, WWE, coming back to WWE, they finally admitted defeat. You do realize that. They put out a statement this week saying that they're actually going to start only considering talent again on the indies who can actually cut a promo and talk and actually appear to look somewhat like a wrestler. So it's taken them all these years.
That's right. Yeah, they are looking to the independents for wrestlers.
Correct.
What a shock. You mean a wrestling company wants wrestlers
that can talk? Right. What a shock. Well, I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be quaking in their boots right now, because I know for a fact there's a lot of places out there when they're training their students, they do not encourage them to talk on a mic.
I'm just going to throw one little gem of knowledge out there real quick. Students, if you are a professional wrestler and you want to work on your promos, please stand in front of a mirror. You can cut a promo on anything, be it a can of beans, be it a toothpick, a toothbrush, a jar of whatever it is. Please watch your facials so that you can figure out facials when you raise your tone, bring your voice down, whatever you're going to do. Always look at your facials. One of the biggest things that I thought was a failure at the Performance Center, we had something called the Mirror Room where you could go and cut promos. And all it was the little red dot of a camera. Never saw your facials. And I thought that was the biggest waste of time in the world.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's stupid. But then again,
it was stupid. It was a waste of time.
Well, none of those guys know how to cut a promo, Martin. Like I said,
it got to a point. It was just you had to clock. I think it was you had to clock like 20 minutes per month. And there were guys that would go in there and just sit there in front of the camera and eat cereal.
What?
But because they clocked their 20 minutes, nothing was said.
They were probably eating Lucky Charms too, the little friggin' immature bastards, probably playing video games.
Not even good cereal like Weetabix, you know. I mean,
no, exactly. I mean, you know what? America, you're missing out. And if you haven't eaten Weetabix, you need to go and find some Weetabix. I know some of the stores have Marmite on toast. Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. I was telling my wife the other day, remember those waffles that are made of potato? I remember those coming out in the UK in the 90s. They were like potato waffles. They were like squares with
bird's eye potato waffles. Yeah, I remember that. I remember the advert. Yeah.
Yeah, all that good stuff back in the UK. But flapjacks, my friend, flapjacks. Not the flapjacks here. The flapjacks we have in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my man. Oh, I want to bring Matt on the screen here because he is a channel member. That's what he gets. Just a shout out. Salut, fellow masters. Emile, Martin.
Salut, Mr. Bannister. Thank you so much.
Salut. Bonsoir. Comment ça va, Mathieu? Yeah, he's a master himself right there. He's part of the masters because he is a channel member. That makes him a master of wrestling too. And speaking of masters, again, Martin, we got to give a shout out to the Bodacious Suave, a tag team partner up in Canada. Bodacious Suave will be back with us next week. We do not forget about our co-stars here on the Masters of Wrestling. We always give him a shout out. He is going through chemo this week. He is having 2 hours of chemo every single day this week, so he is tired. He's got one more day left. He texted me this morning. He's doing okay.
That's to hear. Good.
Thank you for your prayers for Martin. We pray for Bodacious Suave. Matthew, thank you so much for that. But Matthew will be back next week. He says Tuesday, Martin. He's saying Tuesday.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah. And also,
Martin,
he has a special guest lined up for us. One of the JCW competitors will be with us. Yeah. Do you know what else we got coming up, Martin? I had a text from Devin Storm. Crowbar from WCW.
Crowbar himself.
Crowbar Devin Storm will be coming on with us.
What a talent. From Devin Storm to what a career that man's had. And he's still going today. And he's in amazing shape and just having bangers. Like
it just gets better.
I would love to work him. I would love to get in there with him.
Yep, he's going to be joining us. He's going to be sharing some of his pearls of wisdom with us. And like I said, I've been in correspondence with our dear friend Vince Russo, so I'm hoping on that in the next couple of months and stuff. Paul London, Mayor, said he was maybe going to be here with us today, so obviously he wasn't able to.
No,
Paul London will be joining us at some point soon. Of course, Jason.
The intrepid traveler is traveling right now, so.
Well, he is. Well, anyway, I presented him with a new title belt last Sunday, actually. So,
and how did that go?
Well, the new belt went over well. He was in a match with a young man who, quite frankly, didn't measure up to Paul, and so, but he thought he had won the belt from Paul, but it turns out he didn't anyway. So Paul still is retaining his Compton-Mania title belt, which I presented it, which also I paid for, by the way, Martin. Did you know that?
You paid for the Compton-Mania title?
I paid to have a new belt designed for Paul London because Paul and I, he's a friend of both of you and I.
That's cool, yeah.
We've been in talks, right? Right now, he was trapped beneath a glass ceiling, as it were, in this group that he was part of. But I think we smashed the glass ceiling last Sunday. So watch this space out there in the professional wrestling world because, things are going to heat up in that department too. As well, you may be fixing a few things.
Martin, I would absolutely. I will give you my services if anything needs fixing, sir.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we're going to be fixing a lot of things, you and I. It's just not just a good nickname. I think we're already fixing things right here, and it's going to spill out into that wrestling scene in one of these big companies in 2026. So that's coming up down the line. Yeah. Martin, what else? Do we have any little tidbits, or is there anybody has a question? We got about.
I'd say let's go to questions because I'm not too sure of anything else right now. Just
okay.
We've pretty much covered most things right now tonight. So
okay, so we got about 6 minutes left. If you've got a question, hit a super chat. We greatly appreciate that. That keeps the channel moving along. If you've got something we've talked about that you've heard us talk about, or something you want us to discuss here, just hit a super chat right now, or hit and become a channel member for just $4.99 a month, the price of a cup of coffee. And that will give you a free question, a free shout out every single episode. So again, we're going to be here till the top of the hour. So again, if you do have a question, hit that super chat and bring it up. Or if you already are a channel member, pose us your question and we'll discuss it before we close out here. Martin, you and I, just to give everyone an update, you and I will be shooting some pre-recorded segments tomorrow.
Yes, we will.
And at least one of those will be a very, very hot topic we will discuss. That will be in our members section only. So unless you are a paying member, that's not going to
be a member to hear this, because this is going to be fire.
Yeah. So you need to become a channel member if you want to hear these exclusives. If you think we're raw and unfiltered here, you haven't heard anything yet until you go to our members section only. But again,
I am minding my P's and Q's very well, but when those gloves are off.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so we'll be doing that tomorrow. And then, of course, we've got next week, we got special guests coming with us. But again, we encourage anybody who, again, has not yet seen JCW, we just did the review tonight, to go and check out some JCW Lunacy content. I highly recommend it. I think I think Muhammad's review said it all.
Please, just go and watch. Subscribe to the channel. Let's keep this moving, because it's fun, it's entertaining, it's compelling.
Yeah.
So let's try and get this to the point where TV networks can't help but notice it, And again, we have no stake in the game. We don't work there. This is just for the betterment of wrestling.
And just in case people think, I've heard people say, Martin, that I'm just feeding stuff to my Uncle Paul, that I'm just getting information, I'm giving it to Paul. First of all, Uncle Paul and I do not see eye to eye. In fact, if he's not careful, I'm going to be really coming at him at a rival organization pretty soon. In fact, that's pretty much going to be a done deal, Martin. So, Uncle Paul, I'm not here working for Uncle Paul, despite what anybody. And no, I have not been cut out of the will. Okay. All right. I'm perfectly set. All right. From he's the one who he excised himself out of our lineage.
Yeah. That was
right.
Yeah.
He used to be a blue blood.
He's too big for that. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He used to be a blue blood, and then he just freaking, I don't know, he sold out to Hollywood. That's the problem with him. But nonetheless, all right, Martin, I think we're going to close. We're going to wrap up this session then. If nobody's got a question, we're going to wrap it up. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you smash that subscribe button. That is vitally important. Again, we're trying to make professional wrestling great. We need you. Oh, we do have a question. Sorry, tremendous. 1 second. Here we go. From Matt Bannister. Bonsoir encore. I have a question for Martin. This is for you, Martin. What was it like working with William Regal at NXT?
Okay, so I was very, very fortunate. I'd known Mr. Regal for a long time before I actually got signed to NXT. Mr. Regal had a hand in my training. I would fly back and forth from England to Georgia, and I would train. I would be under his learning tree with Dave Taylor and Fit Finlay. Mr. Regal is a class act, an absolute gentleman, and a wealth of knowledge, but also on how to make wrestling look like a fight, and scrappy and gritty and dirty. And that's where he specializes. I've heard that he's now back in he's back on the reins of scouting talent. So,
but he is a legend. William Regal is a legend. But the issue I have right now is he going to be bogged down by the guy they forced him to work for to scout talent, who's been basically doing a miserable job scouting talent for the last 5 years or so. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, Mr. Sapolsky? No. I'm pretty sure Mr. Regal is there so Gabe can follow suit and understand what he needs to look for.
Exactly. He needs to understand.
I'm 100% going to say for Mr. Regal to now be back in that position of scouting talent, because that's always what he's done. Yeah. They've said to Gabe, "You are a waste of space and you are not finding the people we need."
He is. He's not finding the people we need. He
he's not.
goes and scouts the same character over and over and over again.
Different color trunks, different color kick pads. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but you need a bit of variety.
Yeah, you need to
to that point, Mr. Regal is an absolute gentleman, and
he is.
I have been very fortunate to have him a part of my career, and I owe that man a lot. So it's always been a pleasure.
No, he seems like a tremendous guy. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking and meeting him yet. I know that's coming up down the line, but I respect the heck out of him. He came out of the great era of professional wrestling, one of the first to break out of England and really make it on an international platform, him and Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid. So nothing but respect. But again, hopefully, like I said, William Regal comes from sports entertainment. And the Sapolsky guy, he comes from he doesn't come from sports entertainment, and that's the problem.
Mr. Regal comes from everything.
He
comes from the world of sport days when it was just pure mat based.
Yeah.
But then was heavily influenced by comedians in Blackpool and has a love for comedy. So he literally took everything that worked, found out what did, threw stuff at the wall that didn't, kept what did. And then we have a sports entertainer who can work, talk, work a crowd, have fun. Yeah. It's a very simple formula.
Very simple, very simple. And Matt, absolutely. Matt says, thank you for answering my question, Martin, Master Amir. Merci beaucoup.
You are more than welcome.
The reason we answer Matt's question is because he is a channel member, and that's one of the perks of being a channel member. Again, as is customary with pretty much every podcast out there, when you hit a super chat, that is what brings the question on the screen. That's when we answer questions. That's what helps us expand and grow. That's what helps fuel the juggernaut that is the Masters of Wrestling. So again, that's the rule we've set out. We that's the rule we created. So again, some people have asked why, we don't answer their question, because that's just the rules that we have in place. That's why we have memberships. That's why we have super chats.
And again, guys, students, I am new to this. Being on a podcast as frequently I have been is very, very new to me. So any questions you ask me, I would love to answer them. So I really do appreciate anything you are asking me, because this is new waters for me and I'm absolutely loving it right now. So thank you.
It is absolutely wonderful. It's wonderful to have you a part of the team, Martin, to be a tag team partner with you also. And again, you could become a channel member at any time, and it will alert us immediately right here in the stream. Your name will become green, and that means you're a channel member. So again, we can see everything that's going on. So if you want to do that, make sure you do it. We greatly appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the like, share with your friends and family. And again, we're doing this because we want to see wrestling become great again, but we want to thank each and every one of you for taking a little bit of your time and sharing it with us. We want to pray God bless each and every one of you. And until our next live stream, which will be Tuesday, you and I will be back, Martin. We'll have videos dropping over the weekend, our private, our members only videos, and of course our segment videos, which are about 10 or 15 minutes long. You'll have plenty of those. Plus also a brand new Ultimate Truth podcast drops tomorrow. That is the Ultimate Warrior podcast that I just launched right here on this network. And Martin, we have a special guest coming up next Monday on our pre-recorded segments. We actually have the manager of the Ultimate Warrior, another fellow Brit himself, coming on the podcast with us. So this man worked with the Ultimate Warrior, Steve Wilton. He worked with Dana and the Warrior for a number of years. He will be coming on the podcast with us.
Well, that's amazing.
Yep.
You do find them, don't you? Look at you. You do find them.
Well, there's a reason they want to be here. They want to be here on the Masters of Wrestling. Again,
we're the Masters of Wrestling.
They want to be here. This is the place to be. All right. Well, Martin, thank you for another episode. And thank you all of our viewers. We will see you on the next one. God bless.